So then, welcome everybody to the new Audi Q7. Now before we get started on the new one, let me tell you a little bit about the old one. It was introduced back in 2005, and over that 10-year period, Audi sold more than 500,000 of them. It also spawned the Q5 and the Q3, which means Audi know what they're doing when it comes to a family off-road car. And trust me, they know what they're doing with this one. They've been very clever with it. For example, over the old one, it is actually 30 centimetres shorter, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a bit of a difference. It's also lighter, 325 kilograms lighter to be exact. If you want to know how heavy that is, nip down to your local supermarket and buy 300 odd bags worth of sugar. Now they've done that through technology like this. These are aluminium doors, which means it's lighter. There's also aluminium suspension. And while we're around the back, I want to show you some really clever technology in the boot. Now then, one of the key selling features of the old Q7 was the fact that it got 7 seats, and Audi have kept to it. However, there's some things I want to show you. Not only is this tailgate electric, which is nice and convenient, with these seats up, you've got about 295 litres of boot space. That's bigger than a Ford Fiesta. Now, these are electronically operated, so just one touch of a button and they go down. Look at that, even the headrests automatically drop all the way down. Now, with these fully lowered, this boot space goes up to 770 litres. Fold down your next row of seats all the way down, and it goes all the way up to 1,955 litres, which is the size of a Ford Fiesta. With 4x4s of old, you go around a roundabout or a tight bend and you think, oh no, I'm going to fall over, but not in this. It doesn't matter how hard you turn, it's lovely and flat. Even in comfort mode, which we've got it here, it's absolutely flat. This is also Audi's first car to showcase their new design elements. So if you look at the grille, rather than being nice and round of Audis of old, this one's a lot sharper and it's got creases all over it as well, which actually make the car look a little bit lower to the ground and disguise some of the size, which is a good thing because it makes it look like a big estate car rather than a big 4x4. The other thing this car is wonderfully relaxing and quiet to drive. The 3-litre V6 diesel in this is superb. It's very, very quiet and it stays away for most of the time. It doesn't let you know its presence, which is great because it means you can do big distances and just be completely relaxed and focus on what you are doing. Let's be honest, if you are looking to buy a car of this size, you're probably prepared to spend money on fuel as well. However, you don't need to have a guilty conscience anymore. Audi have not only reduced the weight of this car, which helps in fuel efficiency, braking and driving dynamics, but they've also worked wonders with the engine as well. And the gearbox, this is an 8-speed ZF gearbox. And ZF, Google them, they know what they're doing with gearboxes and they're in pretty much everything. They know what they're doing when it comes to gearbox, and the gearbox in this is brilliant. It shifts seamlessly, you don't feel the shifts and they're instant, it's not lagging. Lovely gearbox in this. Now, we're going around a corner here at slow speed, and the reason why I bring this up is I want to talk to you about the rear wheels. In the Q7 you get passive rear steering, which means they will turn up to 5 degrees in the direction that the front wheels are turning. So if they're turning right, they will turn in the opposite direction. What this does is effectively reduce the turning circle of the car, and it makes it a lot more nimble and agile when you're going through towns, cities, villages for example. But Audi have also taken it a step further. When you're going a bit faster, say when you're going down the motorway, the rear wheels will actually turn in parallel to the front up to 2 degrees. So when you're going along the road, the rear wheels will turn in parallel and it will help keep the car more stable. Right, I'm going to do a little test with you here. I'm not going to tell you how fast I'm going. I'm going to go up to the speed limits of this road, which of course you have no idea what it is, but I'm going to ask you to guess from the cabin noise. So there we are, we're up to speed. How fast do you reckon we are going? As you can hear, I'm barely having to raise my voice. Believe it or not, we're actually doing 50 miles an hour. And look, even people in the third row of seats will be able to hear me. I can't get over how quiet this car is. While we're driving around at slow speed, I want to talk to you a little bit about the design elements of this car. We'll start in here. The dashboard in this is all new, as you would expect for an all new Audi. Now, What they've done is this centre console has been set quite high in the car and the dashboard set quite low. That is typical for a sports car, not a 4x4, and it does help set the illusion that this is a lot more sporty than what it is. Certainly it doesn't feel like a big 4x4 pitching and rolling all over the place. It's very, very smooth and subtle, and also controlled. On the outside you'll notice that there's a lot of design cues as well from the next generation of Audis. As you'll see in a few years' time, all Audis will have that very sharp creased grille, as the lights will be nice and sharp as well. There's creases and lines all over this car, and that helps disguise some of the size of this. In fact, rather than looking like a big 4x4, it actually looks like more like an estate with big wheels. There is some very clever tech. In the front grille, for example, there are some small flaps. Now, when you're driving along and the engine doesn't need cooling, these will close. When it does need cooling, they will open. And what's the point in that, I hear you say? Well, with them closed, rather than the air coming into the car and rushing about and causing a lot of drag, which ultimately uses your fuel, it makes it more aerodynamic. They've done the same with the underside of this car as well. It's got a lovely flat underbelly, which means any air going underneath it passes through smoothly. It doesn't slow the car down, it doesn't create drag. How to summarise the new Q7 then? Well, it's a showcase of technology as you'd expect from a brand new Audi, and this is completely brand new. But for me it reminds me a little bit like a Great Dane. Now everybody can have one, but when you see one, my God, do you love them.